Hey you guys, what is up? It's me, Berlin, and yeah, we are back to get into this Trisha Paytas video because Trisha Paytas has once again walked off the Frenemies podcast. I give it a week and she'll be back on there. So what caused all this was Trisha Paytas and Ethan Klein on the Hate Street podcast had a bit of a falling out because Trisha feels that she's been treated unfairly by Hila, who is Ethan Klein's wife. Trisha is really kind of harping on that she's been treated unfairly. Hila doesn't want to see her. Hila's not welcoming to her. All of this stuff, all of this mess. You know, usual Trisha Paytas type stuff. And it escalated. It ended up with Trisha walking out of the podcast. Ethan said, oh yeah, I think you should go. So he kind of said to her, yep, go, get out. And it was all a big mess after that, with Trisha Paytas going on to film like 3 YouTube videos, loads of TikToks, everything. Honestly though, I did not sit and watch all the TikToks after watching a 45-minute Trisha Paytas video today and the Frenemies podcast and the other couple of videos that she posted. I was just like, girl, overload. Trisha Paytas overload. I have had more than enough of Trisha Paytas today. So I did it. I suffered through it just so I could sit and make this little video. Aren't I kind to you? I had to take notes and everything for this because Trisha, she's doing the most. She's doing too much as usual. She has gone off on rants and tangents and God knows what, so I had to actually write it down so that I didn't forget any of it, so that I can then relay it to you because Jesus, it was a lot to keep up with. So Trisha acknowledges that she is the type of person who overshares a lot on social media. Also, she's blaming her outburst, all this behaviour that she's come out with, on a mental health episode. Fine, okay. We're going to have a bit of a bigger discussion about mental health after I've kind of recapped you on what Trisha's been doing. So Trisha said she can't maintain friendships because she's kind of, you know, a bit unpredictable and all of this stuff. You know, she has these episodes, everything else. It was all very Trisha kind of blaming mental health for her behaviour. She did in one video try and take a little bit of responsibility, a little tiny bit of accountability for her mental health. She did say, oh, you know, yeah, I go to Zoom meetings for my mental health and stuff like this. But beyond that, she didn't really seem to have that much self-awareness, if I'm honest. It did seem like she was kind of a bit unwell. Really, that's just my opinion, my point of view. But she said she thought Ethan, the way that he was constantly kind of poking at her in the podcast and stuff, she said, okay, she doesn't mind it. She thinks it's like a joke, but that sometimes he really can press her buttons and push her too far. So Trisha walked out of the podcast because Ethan told her, yeah, I think you should go. Trish got up and left. That's that part. Now we go on to the 2 YouTube videos that she put up after the podcast. One was 45 minutes long, and yes, I sat through it and suffered for you. No, right, this one that was 45 minutes long. It was basically just Trisha kind of on a bit of an episode, but is she really on an episode? I don't know, because honestly, do we all remember when Trisha Paytas was trolling the DID community? The dissociative identity disorder community? You know, Trisha Paytas, it seems to me, has a different personality disorder every couple of weeks. Now she's claiming that she has BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. We're going to talk about this because, to me, if Trisha Paytas is trolling when she's having all these mental health disorders, self-diagnosing, trolling, then that's really, really not something that I like. That's something that I absolutely take issue with because that's kind of stigmatizing mental health, in my opinion. Also, Trisha, she's saying she hears voices and all of this stuff now. I'm like, where has this come from? Because this has only been the last couple of weeks that she started saying that. Before that, previously, like 2 months ago, she was pretending that she had other personalities. So for me, I think this drama between Ethan and Trish is all kind of contrived, is all put on, because honestly, she'll be back on that podcast within a week or two. Honestly, I really, really think she will be back. Mark my words, she will be back on that podcast in a week or two with Ethan, pretending like nothing happened. And honestly, like, is that entertainment? The first video that Trisha put up, uploaded to YouTube after the Frenemies podcast, was one that was 45 minutes long. Now this video is sitting at 11,000 likes and 11,000 dislikes, exactly the same amount of each at the time of me recording this video. So that's interesting. So you've got like half the people who side with Trisha and half the people who don't. Trisha made another 2 videos after this one though. The outburst in our car
of H3, and honestly, I'm done. I'm honestly done with Frenemies. Yeah, we were supposed to try and do this Dr. Drew episode next week or whatever, but I'm seriously freaking done. My security guard's behind me right now. Sorry, he just like came in, but I'm so freaking done with him, because honestly, they didn't even watch the full video of what I put out. And I am so fucking sick of Hila being so fucking mightier, holier than thou. I deserve to not be talked about and all this shit like that. So did we at the beginning of our relationship. So did we at the beginning of when me and Moses started dating. They talked so much relentlessly about me. And she's like, what's the joke? What's the joke about my family not being invited? It's a fucking joke. We're not engaged. We're not getting married. There's no wedding right now. It's a fucking joke. So to be like, what's the joke? What's so funny about that? Hey, guess what? Fucking Ethan and Hila, that's what you guys signed up for. You guys wanted me on the show, and you guys used this to get views, and we got the 1 million views and whatever. And like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine being exploited. I'm fine being like poked on it, but don't be like, what's the joke? It's not funny. Oh, I didn't know you guys are the fucking comedy gods that get to decide what's funny, what's a joke, what's inappropriate, what's entertaining. Ethan be like, this isn't entertaining. Well, clearly it fucking is, because it gets more fucking views on your channel than any other one of your shitty ass podcasts.
And then there was another one which she added, which was basically a lady making TikToks talking about BPD.
Paytas. I posted a video yesterday calling out the hypocrisy of mental health advocates wanting to advocate for mental health until someone shows severe signs of mental illness. Before I go into it, I heavily recommend this video by Psych IRL of this title. Before, obviously I can't fit as much as I want to into a minute video on TikTok. But from someone who has BPD, I wanted to come on here and say something. Mental illness is not beautiful. It's not delicate. It's not this shit that you see on Tumblr of like, I was sad. It's not a Rupi Kaur poem. 1.6% of the world has traits or has borderline personality disorder. This might not seem like a lot, but in actuality, that percentage comes out to millions of people. So I'm not saying that Ethan was at fault, but what I will say is the way that this dynamic played out is toxic on both ends. You might be like, oh, Trisha does this for attention. Ethan posted it. Clearly he wasn't that offended about the whole thing if he posted it for monetary gain. Right? Thank you. Hope we can all agree on that. These are just a few symptoms of BPD if you're not familiar. From personal experience, speaking for myself, I have got in spits like the one with Trisha Paytas repeatedly. So much so as a teenager that I was arrested a couple times and taken to a juvenile detention center. Physical altercations with my own mother, even into adulthood, burning bridges violently. This behavior isn't excusable. However, now I'm someone with over 15 years of therapy under my belt. 15 years. With illnesses like anxiety, depression, even bipolar disorder, in most cases, it's treatable by medication and therapy. Borderline personality disorder is chronic and untreatable, and it's the reason why a lot of therapists won't even take you in as a client. I am actively in treatment and I still show mental illness traits. Who would have thought? I think every single person with BPD watching Trisha Paytas, it strikes a chord. Because it's desperation. I think most of us have all been in situations where we've ripped a door off its hinges, we've said something that we did not mean in the heat of the moment, and we can't control it, and there's almost nothing you can do about it. And it's paralyzing. It is so incredibly clear that in this one instance on the podcast, Trisha felt real or imagined abandonment from the love of her life's family. Now, this would suck for a normal person, a neurotypical person. For someone with BPD, not only does this hurt, it feels like the end of the fucking world. She got on today on YouTube, apologized, explained herself, and the comments are disgusting. A world where cancel culture exists is not a world that the mentally ill can live comfortably. It just doesn't exist. It cancels out. And all this holding her accountable shit, you are a spectator. You're not her therapist, you're not her family, you're not her boyfriend. Who the fuck do you think you are?
Bear in mind that is just one person with BPD's opinion. Now, I'm going to tell you, I actually also have a BPD diagnosis. I am more the kind of quiet BPD type though. So that means for me, I don't have like physically violent outbursts. You know, I feel the anger, I feel the rage, but I bottle it up. I don't exhibit it, you know, outwardly, physically. I don't punch people, I don't break things or any of that stuff. Some people with BPD do. I've been in therapy for it where, you know, there are people who were like that, you know. Fortunately for me, I'm not. But one thing that I really, really do want to say when it comes to mental health, your own mental health is your own responsibility. You cannot blame somebody else for your mental health. That's, you know, that is something that I really want to put out there because honestly, Trisha Paytas is a 32-year-old woman. She's an adult. She's made all this money on OnlyFans. So there's no reason why she can't afford the best therapist. Yes, I know, like that lady said, a lot of therapists might not even see you if you are BPD. But Trisha Paytas has the means. She has the funds to seek help. A lot of people out there in the world aren't in that position. A lot of people in the world don't have that kind of money to get themselves the right kind of help. Trisha Paytas does, and she needs to utilize it. If she is genuinely going through these episodes that she claims she's going through, then she needs to utilize her funds, her money, and actually get herself some help. Of course, it helps to have supportive people around you. I'm not saying it doesn't. Of course it does. You know, but there is only so much that people around you can do. A lot of the time, you have to help yourself as well. BPD is very much about self-management. You know, there's not really any specific cure for it. Me, as someone who was diagnosed with BPD in 2019, you know, then going to 3 months of therapy in a group that was specifically aimed at BPD. The best thing for BPD is talking therapies. So you've got your talking therapies, there are certain medications. So if Trisha is really struggling, I think, yes, it was probably unfair of Ethan to post that podcast. If Trisha was in a bit of a state and she was struggling, yeah, it was a little bit unfair. But I think the majority of the blame for the whole drama lies with Trisha, because honestly, if she is in that place, then she needs to take some responsibility for her own mental health. She can't keep using various mental health disorders like she did when she used the DID community. Interestingly enough, Trisha Paytas' DID video is now deleted. So you came out, you said you had DID and all of this, now you've deleted that video, now you've got BPD. Methinks Trisha is trolling us again about mental health. Anyway, no doubt we will see Trisha back on the H3 podcast in a week or two, and oh, it'll be something else then. There'll be another drama. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to stop this video here, so see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Please do let me know your thoughts, your comments, your opinion down below, and I'll see you soon. Bye guys.